Why don't you just give us your assessment of the defense's performance in Dallas against SMU?
Yeah, not very good. Obviously, I've said this before in these media days, way too many big plays. Anytime you play 48 snaps and the offense possesses the ball for 40 minutes, those are games that we should win around here. Just simply not good enough on defense. The 48 snaps played pretty good for probably 38 or 39 of them, but it doesn't matter if you give up those kind of explosive plays. And we knew going into that game that SMU, lived on making big plays, and that was a point of emphasis for us. And we didn't get it done. It's as simple as that. Got to coach them better. We got to execute better. Thought we got out physical on the perimeter by SMU. Didn't leverage blocks. There's some calls I'd like to get back. Got to be more careful about when I'm making aggressive calls. In hindsight, you'd like to just defend, maybe not bring pressure in a couple of those scenarios. Going in the game, felt like we had to be aggressive, and it's kind of who we are. But we also got to be smart about when we do it, and I got to do a better job with that.
So the one guy going into the game that you knew you had to, you even said it last week, have to know where he is at all time. It's Rashee Rice. For him to catch a 68-yard pass right through the heart of your defense. I mean, it's a simple slant pattern, and he should not be able to go 68 yards on that. But I mean, he is a fast, talented receiver and NFL guy. But I mean, you kind of figured you'd have him bracketed up, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, Billy caught 3 passes all day. 2 of them were shovel passes, I think. So he caught the one on us on the RPO and didn't cover it right. And to their credit, they had it schemed up a little bit in that particular play. It was it was a good play by them. But yeah, we've got to get that thing tackled. Obviously, we got to defend it better. But if you had told me he'd have 3 catches on the day, I'd have felt pretty good about that going into the game. I'd have taken that. He's a good player, so I thought we did a good job with him. But I knew going in they had some other guys that could catch the ball and make plays happen too. And obviously that's what happened.
And so obviously another play that hurt because you just taken the lead, and then in 2 plays they score. But on the Mordecai RPO, I guess it was, although I think he was keeping all the way. It seemed like after he went out the back door, there was not many people on that side of the field. It was just over pursuit.
Yeah, that was a backbreaker. It was really disappointing. Go up, you got the lead. It was his own read. We had a guy, it was a blitz. Obviously, we had a guy bending off the edge to take the zone dive. We had 2 guys on the queue. Neither one of them got there, and so lack of execution right there. And they went fast. His tempo, and probably didn't do a great job, a good enough job of preparing our guys for the tempo during the week. And it was obvious, a couple of things. We fit that up perfect in practice for the most part, almost all week. And that particular play, we knew we were getting it. Had the call made, and we didn't execute right there. And obviously, he's a good football player too, and he can run, and that's why we had 2 guys to help on the queue right there if he did pull it, and we just simply didn't execute on that particular play.
And last for maybe for now, the bunch screen where the guy didn't get touched. I mean, I think that's what you're talking about, out leveraged and more physical. I mean, your guys got sealed off big time.
Yeah, got sealed off, got the tails blocked off. Another tempo play, that we should have that thing leveraged at least. They're going to catch it, but we got to get it tackled, especially right there on the sideline. And, probably not a great play call by me in that situation, but it shouldn't be a 30-yard or whatever it was, touchdown. We got to get that thing tackled. And like I said, I thought they got after us on the perimeter, blocking us in the secondary, and we got to do a better job of attacking blocks, be more physical at point of attack, and leveraging the football. And we did a poor job of that on Friday, and it's something we're going to have a renewed point of emphasis on during the week of practice, and that we've got to get better at for sure.
Let's go to Kareem Copeland.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Kareem.
You just mentioned a renewed emphasis, and we were just talking to Gianni a minute ago, and he said there's been an emphasis on effort that's been talked a lot about this week. That's usually not a thing for y'all. Did that just feel kind of like a fluky thing last week?
Yeah, you're right. It's not really something that we even have to talk about or address a lot around here. That's our standards, the way we do things all the time, and felt like for the first time all year that wasn't um, what I expect and want that to be. Better than most, but not good enough for who we are and what our standard is. And I don't know, if winning the week before in convincing fashion and playing pretty decent on defense made our guys feel like they had arrived a little bit, or could take the foot off the gas a little bit. I don't know what it was. Obviously, we didn't have them prepared well enough and ready to go, and so that's on me. And that won't be an issue moving forward.
I was gonna say, is that one of those things that's pretty much between the ears and very easily correctable, as opposed to if there was some kind of scheme thing that you guys had to address?
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, certainly not something we have to talk about a lot around here. We take pride in that above everything else, and so we got to do better with that. We got to be more physical, and then we have to execute better. And I've got to do a better job of putting our guys in position and making smart calls, and taking. Obviously, we got to take some chances, but you got to be smart about when we do it. And when your offense is possessing the ball like we did and scoring points, and sometimes you just got to defend and drop 8, do some of that type of stuff, and maybe bleed a little bit in the run game, and but keep people out of the end zone. And we've not done a good enough job with that, and that's on me. I got to get that fixed.
And just one last one for me, looking ahead towards Houston. Obviously, they're always an athletic team that can put points on the board without giving away the game plan. Biggest things that you guys got to make sure you stay on top of.
Yeah, the quarterback's an excellent player too, and I feel like he's been there longer than I've been coaching. He's a really good quarterback. He can run it, he can throw it. He's super comfortable in their system. He's like a coach on the field. Great leader. And then Nathaniel Dell is maybe the most dynamic player I've seen on film in a long, long time. Reminds me of Calvin Austin for Memphis last year. He's that kind of a player, and so we've always got to know. Similar to Rashid last week, we have to know where number one's at, and when he does get his catches, we've got to leverage and contain the ball. We got to swarm with the football and get him on the ground. But we've got a lot of good players. So like every week, the skill that we see in this league is really, really good, and that's this week is no exception to that.
Perfect, quick and easy. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Scott Wyckoff. You're
Thank you. I'm
muted,
muted,
Scott.
Scott.
You're muted.
Okay,
There you go.
thanks. Coach, what is it about Dana Holgerson's system that's been so successful, that's made it so successful everywhere he's been, be it as a head coach or as a coordinator?
I think he does a really good job of recruiting to his system. Seems like he's always got a really good quarterback and skilled players. Schematically, they do a lot of things. They give you 11 personnel, they give you 12 personnel, 10 personnel. They do a good job of running the football and throwing it, taking what you give them. Some really good stuff schematically in the pass game, route conceptually wise, and some stuff that's really hard to defend. They just do a really nice job of getting the ball in their best players' hands. Just always have a ton of respect for his offensive, his offensive mind. He's one of the best in the business, and always really, really hard to defend.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bill Bergman.
Coach, we talked to Jianni today. What have you seen out of number 52 out on the field this year?
Some really good things at times, and then obviously at times looks like a really young player, like a lot of our guys do. Gianni's a super talented guy. By all means, he's a redshirt freshman. And so he's like a lot of these other guys. He's learning as he plays in these games. So things come up, and when he does make a mistake, the next week it's usually corrected. But no, I've been pleased with Jianni. Didn't think he played his best game on Friday, like a lot of our guys didn't. Like I didn't coach my best game, and so the thing moving forward with him and with me and with the rest of these guys is we got to build on what we did wrong. It's a setback, and sometimes you got to have one of those to take a big leap forward, and hopefully that's what we're going to do this week.
Gianni was talking a lot about his position coach, PJ Volker, and just
Mhm.
not what he's like as a coach, but what he's like as a person. And he called him a life coach. What is Coach
Yeah.
Volker like?
Well, I think he nailed it. I mean, he's a great football coach, but he's a great person as well. And you know, I've got a 3-year-old son, and I would love for him to play with a coach like Coach Volker, because I know he's going to get more out of him than just football. Like you said, he teaches life lessons. He's a great motivator. I think he's a phenomenal teacher, and you know, he cares about his players, and he's in it for the right reasons. And we've been together for a long time, and I think he's one of the very, very best in the business.
And for this defense, what's it like for them, you think, to get the opportunity to be back at home in front of the home crowd and to help bring that maybe extra level of support and energy behind them?
Oh, it's always great to be at home. We got a noon game, early kickoff. It's you know, sit around and wait all day long to play, and so I like that. But you know, I think it doesn't matter if we're on the road or at home. Obviously, you get the extra support at home, and that's nice to be home. But it's, you know, we're home, but it's a business trip this week as well. We got to bounce back. We got to play a lot better to have a chance to win this game. Our players understand that, and the thing I love about this group, man, we got a bunch of resilient guys. They'll come to work today, and there'll be no drop off in intensity or passion for what we're doing, and hopefully we can go get better this week.
Thank you.
One more trip around, Wags.
So the big plays has been a constant topic. How do you eliminate them? Is there anything you can put your finger on that has been the issue? Is it just been that the back end is just not able to get guys down, or I mean, you can't, I guess it can't put all the blame on the secondary, right?
No, you can't. You know, we're young back there, Wags, and we're getting, you know, we're making progress. You take one step forward, and then it felt like Friday we took a step back, and you know, it's on me to make sure that we have a clean plan. Our guys understand what they're doing, and they can execute what it is I'm asking them to do. Not just from an execution standpoint, from a physical and technique standpoint as well. So I got to make sure our guys feel great about the plan, and that they feel confident about what they're doing. And we have to communicate better, which has been an issue during the season. You know, a lot of the big plays we've given up were maybe communication bust or misalignments. So we got to get that stuff cleaned up. And if we're doing too much, then I've got to cut back a little bit. And then we've got to defend a little bit more than pressure. And so I got to be smart about when I do it. I just got to get those guys and put them in a better position, and make sure they understand what we're doing, what we're trying to get accomplished. And then, you know, young players, a lot of times they don't really understand. You know, playing great defense is about knowing where your help is. And I think sometimes it's obvious that we don't really fully understand that, and where we're supposed to give help. You know, and so that's been a reoccurring theme, and we got to coach them better. Simple as that. And you know, you can't continue to use young players as an excuse, because it's not. You know, but we'll keep getting better. We'll coach them better. We'll find a way to make sure that our game plan is clean, and we go out and we can execute, and they can do what we're asking them to do.
One thing that I noticed looking at the stat sheet from Friday night was no sacks or QB hurries and no turnovers. All of that adds up. It makes it tough to get, you know, you want to get them behind the sticks, you want to turn them over. But I also know that they operate fast and they get the ball out fast. So it's hard to get pressures and sacks. But do you feel like you needed more, you know, whatever you would call impact plays in that game?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know how much more aggressive we could really be in that game. You know, he did a great job of getting the ball out. I think they had a good plan for some of the stuff we were doing, and making sure they didn't take negative plays. You know, I thought we forced some negative plays in the run game. We've been pretty good at that. They just didn't have to run the ball a whole lot, you know. And so, but yeah, if they're going to throw it that many times, you'd like to. Of course, I don't think we had a pass deflection all night, even, you know. So, by far, that was a game that we were the least disruptive in. You know, we keep track of that metric, and wasn't good enough, obviously.
So in addition to the long touchdown run, Mordecai also had a well, what looked like a touchdown, but they stepped out. But that was also a nice run. Clayton Tune can run too. Is this the more emphasis on the guys we got to really keep an eye on, spy this quarterback, because he can hurt us if we forget about him?
Yeah, no question. It was an emphasis last week too, Bill. We just didn't do a great job of it. You know, that particular play you're talking about was I think it was a 3rd and 6 down in the red zone. And we just, you know, the coverage was good. We didn't do a good job of containing the quarterback. We lost leverage there. And that's, you know, there were 2 plays like that where you felt like we could have forced a field goal on 3rd down, and they converted and almost scored a touchdown on that one and scored a touchdown on the other play. And so those are backbreakers, you know, and down there in the red zone, 3rd down, you got to get stops. And we've been pretty good at that for the most part this year, but on Friday we weren't. And that was, you know, ultimately the difference in the game.
But Tune is definitely another guy that can run it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he can run. You know, I don't know if he's as fast as Mordecai, but he's certainly as athletic. Runs hard. He's not a guy that wants to slide. He'll go get the yardage. We've got some design quarterback run stuff more so for him than they did Mordecai. And so it's certainly a point of emphasis. We know we have to do a great job of that in order to have some success on Saturday.
I want to ask a little bit about yourself to start off. You know, last year, you know, a lot of special teams. This year you got, you know, starts the last 4 games and out there, you know, making plays every day. So I'm just curious, what has the growth been like from last year to a much bigger role this year?
Yeah. So obviously, like it's been a lot of work in this. Over the past year, I took a lot of growth last spring ball. Before that, like you said, I played a lot of special teams, and during that time, I was just basically following behind Diego and doing my best to, you know, get to know like the play call and stuff like that, get used to the Newberry system. And this year, I've just been trying to get back into the groove of playing fast and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What was the biggest challenge of that? You know, I mean, you're in the middle of the fire now.
The biggest challenge, I say being patient every day and just knowing that, like, just trusting in my coaching and Coach Volker, Newberry, just knowing that like things will come. I just gotta go to work every day and mentally grasping the playbook and understanding what they're trying to get out of me.
You know, Ken the other day was talking a lot about, you know, the big plays, and I know that's a thorn in the side from last game. You know, how do you guys try to limit those going forward?
I think the best way we try to limit plays is by putting pressure on teams and playing on the edge, and I think you can see like in our film and our tape as a defense, we just try to play on the edge and scratch and claw for everything that we can get. So that's how we saw going against really athletic teams and stuff like that.
Ooh, one last one for me, and then I'll turn it over. I wanted to ask, you know, what got you to Navy in the first place? You know, there's not a whole lot of, you know, straight up DC kids on this roster. You know, so what got you here in the first place?
Yeah, I know it's not. Yeah, I think I might be the only one, but I just felt like, I don't know. When I chose my high school, I felt like it was a I don't want to say wow, but it was a crazy decision. It was like unorthodox. Like not too many people did it, and it put me on a good path for academic and athletic success, and they got the most out of me. And I just feel like, you know, going here is like we push academically like to the max. I feel like I'm getting the most out of myself, like every day. You know, they force me to grow, like literally every day. So I think that, and I'm surrounded by like a good coaching staff. Like Coach Vogel, like I said before, Coach Vogel is like a big mentor in my life, and since meeting him, he's basically like trying to get me to become a man as quickly as possible. I think that's the most important thing.
Cool. That's perfect. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I can confirm you are the only one from DC. Wags.
Hey, Johnny, good to see you, man.
Hey, what's good?
Hey, so what position did you play at Woodbury Forest? Were you an inside linebacker, or what were you? What did you play?
Uh, they moved me around. I played inside. I was definitely more of like an outside linebacker, more like more we like use like a striker now at Woodbury. So they moved us around, kind of like how we do now with some of our different defensive fronts, you know. But I was mostly like a striker.
So, what has been the big adjustment to playing inside now? I mean, it's obviously a huge responsibility in Navy's defensive formation. The inside linebackers are asked to make a lot of tackles. It's designed for you guys to run free and make tackles. What's been the biggest adjustment for you, Johnny?
The biggest adjustment is just, you know, linemen are bigger. Because I'm inside more, I have to be more disciplined with my feet, my hands, and you know, certain patterns and run plays and things like that I have to get used to, and you know, they just stuff like that. Just being more disciplined with my hands and my feet. It's not really that much of a. It wasn't really that much of a change for me, but that's probably the biggest thing. It's being aggressive with my hands and getting off blocks.
So it doesn't say in your bio that you went to the Naval Academy Prep School. So you were direct entry, correct?
Yeah, I did. I did come direct last year.
And so how you're 234 you're listed at now is, I mean, have you added a lot of weight and strength since you arrived at the academy?
Yeah, I put on about. I always been like a bigger kid. So I never really struggled to put on weight or anything like that. I put on about like 10 pounds of weight since I've been here. Yeah, over the summer working out, stuff like that. About 10 pounds.
And so your bio says you were a track and field athlete and a wrestler. What weight class did you wrestle, and did you have pretty good? Looked like you only wrestled one season. I'm guessing it was your senior season, but did you have a pretty good wrestling season? And what events did you do in track and field?
I wrestled. Yeah, I only wrestled for one season. I had to cut it short just because of like, you know, coaching issues and stuff like that. But it was fun. Like wrestling was fun. I wrestled at 220. I was a 205 wrestling at 220 in my sophomore year. It's probably the hardest sport I've ever done. Yeah, I wrestled out in Central Virginia. It was a good time. It taught me how to use my hands and stuff and just how to like push and pull, things like that. And then track, I did track all 4 years at Woodbury. I ran the 200 early on. Eventually got cut short to the like 100 and outdoor disc. For indoor track, I did the 50 and I threw the shot for a little bit, but I stopped doing that. So I also ran in a 4x2, like 4x2.
Do you have sprinter speed?
I think I got speed, yeah.
Scott Wyckoff.
Jenny, what's it like knowing that you're going to be up against another high-powered offense in this American Athletic Conference against Houston? What do you know about them, and what do you guys need to do to keep them in check?
I mean, I've been traveling for like 2 years now, like just watching AAC teams play like all last year and playing them this year. We approach the game. We approach each team, you know, obviously they all a little different, but we approach with like our same like core mentality. We just try to make fewer mistakes and play harder. Just play with an edge, and Houston's good, just like SMU is good. And whatever Newberry draw up, whatever you want to highlight for their offense, we'll adjust to that. We're already making adjustments this week, and we're working on that. So yeah, we just want to play on the edge.
What's your comfort level in Coach Newberry's defense? Like you say, he likes to draw up new things each week and new variables. How do you like playing in his defense and your comfort level?
I think his defense is good for my play style. And I think as I play more, I get more and more comfortable. I feel like I got a lot more growth to do there. So just me personally, definitely a lot more growth, but I definitely have a lot of confidence in him and his play calling ability. So.
Growing up in DC, how cool is it to run out onto the field at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, almost in your backyard, knowing that there are folks that have known you for a while watching you?
No, it's definitely, I take pride in it. It's obviously it's a privilege. So I take a lot of pride in it. I do my best to, play as well as I can. So.
Do you have friends that you grew up with that are able to come to games?
Yeah. A lot of people tune in, whenever we have home games on CBS and stuff like that. So, yeah. So we close in the area, family tune in, friends tune in. Like I said, I take a lot of pride.
Thanks a lot.
For sure.
Phil Bergman.
Yeah, Gianni, so did you grow up in DC proper or in a suburb? Where exactly in DC first did you grow up in?
I originally grew up in Southwest with my great grandmother, right by the waterfront, around Northeast and Southeast DC. So yes, I'm not a suburban kid. I'm from the city.
Talking with Scott earlier, we don't remember the last player that's come from DC proper to play for Navy. What does it mean to represent Washington, DC here at the Naval Academy and your city?
For me, it means everything. I take a lot of pride in coming from DC. I feel like it's, the city is what made me me. It's what made me unique. So I take a lot of pride in that.
Coach Volker, you touched earlier on how he said he's making you into a man. He gives a lot of tough love out there on the field. Just what's Coach Volker like as a position coach?
I like to think of him. I mean, obviously a great position coach. I like to think of him more just like more of like a life coach. Like obviously when it comes to playing linebacker, he's gonna try to make me the best linebacker that I could be. I mean, nothing ever really perfect with him. It's the same thing off the field. Obviously we go to the Naval Academy. It's a bunch of stuff we gotta be squared away with, and just on the field, off the field. If it's any little tiny thing in life, he's gonna try to pick at it and make sure you're getting better at it. So he like a critic. He always trying to get me to be better. It's like somebody, looking over my back all the time.
And lastly, you only have 2 more games this year at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Just what does it mean to be back at home in front of this crowd, and just what's it going to be like come Saturday to play in front of the home environment?
I go to school here, so obviously I want to bring a win. I walk the halls with these kids every day. They go to hard classes, and I watch them struggle. I'll struggle with them. So I know what it means to bring a dub home, and what it does for the environment. So it would be real nice. Go out there and get a W for them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kareem.
Actually, all set. Thank you. Appreciate you, Johnny.
Wags.
So Johnny, what do you think has enabled you to make a big leap this season to become the starter at the Mike inside linebacker spot?
Well, first and foremost, I think effort. Effort is the biggest thing. And that's what they care about here. And that's how we win games. That's how we compete at the level we compete at. And to be honest, we gotta, I don't know. Just me personally, I feel like we got away from, and the coaches emphasized that we got away from that last game. So this week I'm personally trying to make it a big thing to get back to putting in effort every play, running down on the ball every play, trying to be around the ball every play as much as I can. So I think that's the biggest thing. That along with obviously trying to conceptualize the playbook and things like that.
So being from DC area, are you a big Commanders fan?
Yeah, I am. I am a Commanders fan.
Is there a college or football linebacker that you kind of like to pattern your game after?
Mm, pattern. Like I like watching Devin Bush, but I feel like it's hard to pattern behind him. He got like extra streaky speed, but I like watching Devin Bush a lot. Just because similar body builds. We like the same height. I might got a half inch on him, but that's about it.
So Maryland prides itself on dominating DMV recruiting. Did they recruit you?
No, I didn't get recruited by Maryland. I went to. I didn't really get recruited by that many Power 5 schools coming out of Woodbury. So no, I didn't really get recruited by Maryland.
Who would you say it came down to between Navy and whom?
I mean, not that it matters anymore, but it was probably Navy and Villanova. So I think I was more comfortable with Coach Ingram. And that's the guy who recruited me, the O-line coach here. And he just, the way he broke it down, made it real simple. And that it was pretty obvious that if I wanted to be the person, if I wanted to be a more responsible person, the man that I need to be one day, I probably should come in.
What have both Diego Fagot last year and Will Harbor this year taught you about playing this position?
I think with Diego, I think we completely different type of linebackers, I think. But I think with Diego, just the biggest thing I watched with him last year was just how disciplined he was in the box with his feet. Like his best, I mean, obviously he would mess up some plays, but on his best plays, like he was like real disciplined, like with his tees and fall. Like he made the D line like his job much easier. That's something I need to get much better at. And the best thing that Will has helped me with is just being able to, conceptualize things and break the playbook down. And he told me I remember last year, like he told me, like, he was like one of the main ones, just like just be patient. Like even when I thought like I would never be able to, call this defense, or I mean, well not call, but be the mic for this defense. Like he was, like, and then I could do it. He was like, just be patient. It's all gonna come to you at one point. So,
Good luck in Houston.
Thank you.
And Phil Bergman.
Yeah, Gianni, just one from me. Coach DiMatalo's talked about how great of a recruiter Coach Ingram is. As someone who's been recruited by Coach Ingram, what's his recruiting style like? What do you think makes him such a great recruiter?
Well, like he's a good talker, for one. Ingram, if you ever talk to him, he got like a Southern like he's very coachable, and you feel like you can just be comfortable around him. And then, what I'm saying, I expressed what I wanted out of a college, and he basically was like, all right, we got, we got the military set up. We play, military setup is the number one school, number one public school, so you're going to get a good education. You got a guaranteed job, which was a big thing for me. Like, that's a hard thing to pass up in football. Don't go exactly how I would like it. You're going to have a job, and you're going to have 4 years of discipline under your belt. He emphasized that a lot. 4 years discipline under your belt, you're going to have a guaranteed job. You're going to be an officer, and once you get out, you got the skills to basically do anything you want. And he made it about like family and stuff like that. Think about what that could do for your family and what that means for you for the rest of your life. And I thought I would be a fool if I passed that up.
I know the final score wasn't what you guys were hoping for last week, but you had a hell of a performance. I'm curious for you and for the offense, what clicked so well last week in particular?
I think we started off a little slow, slower than we usually try to start off. That's kind of like the message we preach is fast starts every game. But I think kind of when we got settled down a little bit more, started kind of getting the flow of it. I mean, we just kind of did our simple stuff better than we have been, I think. Kind of just executed and did our assignments like how we knew we could do them. Up front, they were blocking great, and on the perimeter, we were blocking great, able to give the people that had the ball some space to be able to make a play. Definitely could have done better, obviously. There's moments where you wish you could get back and you watch it on film and you know, get upset because you wish you could get that one play back or however many plays it was. But definitely proud that we kept fighting to like the last second of the game. And that's just the kind of team that we have. So
I'm going to ask you to kind of self-scout a little bit. You know, I think the strides that you've made since, you know, the beginning of last year to now are quite long. I mean, quite apparent. I'm curious, what has started to feel easier or has started to click a little bit better? I don't know whether it's just identifying defenses, reading what you're trying to do. I'm just curious, you know, with your own growth, where do you think you've made some of the biggest strides?
I think for me, it's probably like just the speed of the game. I know like last year it was still all pretty new. So I think just like the speed of it was something I had kind of get adjusted to as the season went along. And I think this year I kind of knew what to expect. So going into it wasn't a surprise with how fast the teams were, like how they played and all that. So I think just like being able to kind of like the game slowing down a little more has helped me a lot. And obviously there's still a lot of room for improvement in different aspects of everything. But I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed is just it seems like I can see things a little easier. And obviously when I make mistakes and stuff like that, it's frustrating because I feel like it's like a step back from what I was trying to do. So, but yeah, if there's one thing, it'd probably be like the speed of it.
And just last one, and I'll share with everyone else. Just was there a moment, or has there been a moment where things kind of, I don't know whether it's clicked or all of a sudden you saw things clearly? I don't know if it's a game or a time in practice where all of a sudden things kind of felt a lot more comfortable than they had in the past.
I would say I think for me, probably just like overall throughout here, it was probably the UCF game because it was our last year UCF game. Just because the first game against Marshall, it felt like everything was a million miles per hour, and then I didn't get to play obviously the next two games, and so when I came back for the UCF game, and I kind of like finally got a sense of like what it like felt like to actually be able to execute the offense and like see what it looks like when the ball is moving and we're getting into the right play and stuff. It definitely gave me like a sense of confidence and moving forward. And I think that was probably like the biggest turning point because that was like the first actual game where I felt like we were moving the ball and I was able to like see what you like. Because in practice, it's easy because the pressure is not on you to do it all like right there in the game, but you're obviously getting ready for the game. So when it finally came into the game and it felt like it was like what we did in practice, and it made it feel like everything was kind of like clicking and going the way it was supposed to go. It definitely gave me a sense of confidence moving forward going into the other games.
How important is it for this team to really take advantage of these few remaining home games starting this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I mean, I think speaking from just a team standpoint, I mean, it's seniors last couple of games at home here playing football, and so it's definitely huge. We want to be able to go out with wins like that, and obviously we've had a couple of games that didn't go our way in our home stadium, so we definitely want to be able to do what we feel like is necessary in our home field and be able to bring home wins. And I mean, just in general, just for us as like a team, just building the confidence. And I mean, it's you only get to play in your home stadium so many times. So just moving forward, I think for us, like this game is a big deal to us, just because kind of like a statement game for us to be able to bounce back, even though it was a tough loss last weekend.
Also, a way for you to keep one of your goals alive, still very much in the hunt in the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a conference game, and definitely something that we as a team feel like we've been so close so often that if we just don't shoot ourselves in the foot every now and then, or maybe I do something a little different, then we're still in the game or winning that game. And Coach Ken always says it's hard to win, and that's the truth. But I think we all know that within our team that we can compete with any of the teams in our conference. So
How do you describe what you've seen in video of this Houston team?
yeah, I mean, they're very athletic, very sound, know what to do against triple option teams. So I think it'll be a chess match going against them, but I think it'll be fun. It'll be a dog fight, but it'll be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Pete Medhurst.
Graham kind of hit on one of the things I wanted to ask you about, Ty, but just from last week in particular, what was different for you on the running aspect of this and 16 games into your career, which really isn't all that much, to be honest with you, in this particular offense? Is it just a better feeling and a better vision for what you're seeing, trusting when to plant that foot and turn it upfield? And, you know, the gap that you think you're seeing is actually really there and things of that nature?
Yeah, I think that's probably like the biggest point was like the last part is just like, because a lot of times it's kind of like it's an uneasy feeling going back into the middle of the field when you're cutting back and stuff like that, because you know the defense is usually probably flowing towards you, but kind of just trusting that the blocks are being made inside, and the creases were there, and I was able to just keep my footing, because a lot of times I end up slipping or something like that. So being able to keep my footing and try to make a play happen was definitely probably the biggest thing, because it was probably my best running game I've had since I started playing here. And I mean, the O-line did a great job blocking. And I mean, I think the perimeter opened up a lot for me to be able to run it. And it kind of just played out in my favor. So
Can you kind of speak to and talk about, describe the multi-huddle, facet that you all use in practice? So in a game like Saturday, where so many offensive linemen at some point are going down, you're at one point on your third center, and you guys are still able to maintain and persevere. Can you just kind of explain how important that is in terms of player development, so those guys are ready to go in situations like that when they're called upon?
yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing for us is making sure that I mean, everyone's always one play away from playing. So you never know when you're going to be able to play. So you kind of have to practice like you're going to be able to be the starter that week. And like you said, we had some linemen go down, but that didn't. I mean, when we got to our third center, it wasn't like he was going out there and confused at what to do. He knew what the game plan was. He knew what his job was. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for us, is because in our offense, it's the offense should be able to keep going regardless of who's playing in it. So I think that's a big thing we preach in the quarterback room too, is if somebody goes down, you have to be able to go in and continue the offense to execute the way it's supposed to be ran. And I think that was very apparent in the game, because we had people go down, but everyone that came in didn't flinch. They came in and tried to do their job to the best of their ability, and I think it showed Saturday or Friday. So
Whether on the ground or in the air, you guys have really developed what looks like a really nice stable of playmakers, and a lot of them in that group are underclassmen. So this is a chance for you all to continue to build game by game and really build into something special on this offensive side, because we keep seeing flashes of it. We know there's a game coming where it's all going to come together for you guys, but have you seen this transformation coming because of all of these different playmakers that have been able to step up for you and with you as part of this offense right now?
yeah, I mean, I think we saw it in spring and fall camp, knowing that we had a lot of guys that can make a lot of plays. And I think just as time has gone through the season, giving other guys different opportunities, different chances to make a play, it's become very apparent that we have a lot of weapons on the offensive side that we can that we're able to use. And like you said, we've had glimpses and flashes of a lot of big plays happening and stuff. But I think for us, it's been it's the little things that we shoot ourselves in the foot with during games on the offensive side that kind of puts us in a hole in situations that we don't really want to be in, run the triple option. So I think if we can limit the self-inflicted wounds, I think it'd be it's a chance to be really great if we can put it all together.
Thanks, pal. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Bill Wagner.
Well, Ty, kind of following up on what Pete was asking, this was your best rushing performance of your career. You got over 100 yards, and it really does make a difference when the quarterback runs for those types of numbers. It opens up everything else. Coach Niamat was on with us Monday and said that they've been talking about, you've got to make defenses a pay if they slow play you. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you did this week past Friday night?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing was just taking what they gave me, trying not to force something that wasn't there on the running side of it. I just trusted my legs, I feel like, and trusted up front that we were going to be able to get the people blocked that need to be blocked, and on the perimeter, getting the perimeter blocked the way it needed to be. And I really just try to because like you said, if the quarterback can get yards, it makes them have to consider that more throughout the game. So I think that was a big thing, was being able to take what they gave me and get the yards that were there, and trying to open up other things in the offense.
Are you getting more comfortable running the ball? I mean, I know probably coming in here, it wasn't really your strength. You were, I think you were in mostly a passing offense in high school, but are you getting more comfortable with that aspect, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. I think this was probably the game I felt most comfortable running in. I felt like I was doing or getting yards that we needed throughout the game on third down or whatever it may be. But I think that this was definitely an eye-opening thing for me too, just being able to trust my legs, trust the blocks and everything that is there in front of me, that sometimes I end up trying to just pitch it or not take it, and kind of just trusting in it and going with it, and just trying to make a play.
It seems like you're more comfortable operating out of the shotgun. I know that you were pretty much in a shotgun offense in high school, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that just in both running and passing? I mean, it seems like when you run the ball, when you go out of shotgun, it seems like you just are able to see the field a little bit better, and you tend to hit it a little faster. Would that be fair to say? And do you still have to get better operating under center?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always room for improvement, especially triple option under center, because everything's right there in front of you. Again, I mean, it's something that a lot of high school quarterbacks end up doing nowadays is sitting the gun and running offenses and stuff. So that's kind of what felt like is the natural path of the offense I used to run. But I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing is trying to get better under center with the running aspect of it, because sometimes I come off a little iffy or not really sure. That's definitely something I'm trying to improve on. Because I mean, our offense is built under center and all the different aspects that triple option brings from under, and so that's definitely something that I have room to improve on. I think that's always going to be the case.
So Coach Niamat thought you really grew up, is his exact term he used on Friday night. Do you feel that way?
I think as a group, I think we grew up like as a group, just because things were going. I mean, last week, the week before at Tulsa, everything was going great, and it was kind of just like it felt like it was all going right for us. And then when we came into this game, obviously we got down at some point, but there was never anyone that stopped playing, stopped trying to score. And I think it showed tremendously to the guys on the offensive side, especially up front. I mean, we ran 101 plays and they were coming off the ball every single time. And we played until the last second, scored with 10 seconds left. And I mean, like the dedication to the offense and to what we strive to do never wavered. So I think it was a big growing experience for everyone on our side of the ball.
What was it like to run 101 plays?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it. I was wondering why my body was so sore, and then I looked at the stats after and I saw how many plays we had, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense now. So
Thanks, Ty.
thank you.
Bill Bergman.
Ty, you've really been developing a relationship with both Kai and Jaden out there. Those two specifically, what's really clicked between those connections with them?
I think we're both at NAP. All of us were at NAP together, and I think we have a strong relationship off the field just from hanging out and all that. I think we trust each other. We've known each other for a while, talked about a lot of football and stuff. So I think just that aspect of it kind of translates to the field and just allows for me to give them opportunities if it's there. So
just talking with people on the team, they talk about how much you love to throw the ball and how much you enjoy passing the ball. What you love so much about the passing aspect of being a quarterback?
I don't know. It was something that always like fascinated me when, like, 'cause I didn't play quarterback growing up until like 8th grade year. And so like, but it was always something I always like just loved throwing the ball. I don't know why. It was just something that like that's why baseball was fun to me because I could always just throw and stuff. But I don't know. It was just something that like because I feel like as a quarterback, like people judge you based off your accuracy or whatever you can do throwing the ball. So that was always like a mindset of it. But obviously, it kind of flipped. So like I still love throwing it, but it also flips when you come into a triple option offense because you know that that's like a little part of a bigger aspect of your game. So I mean I do love throwing it, but it's definitely something that has been kind of like backseated in my mind when it comes into games because I know that the running portion is definitely going to be something that's going to help the passing game if it does come up.
And you were out for the Houston game last year. Do you have like that extra drive heading into this game to kind of show your stuff against them because you didn't get to play them before?
Yeah, definitely. I remember I was watching it because it was like the second, third week I was out and I was watching and I just wanted to be out there playing them there because I mean it was a great close game and so it's like being able to having to sit on the sideline and watch it from there. So I'm definitely anxious to get out there and be able to play them for my first time. So.